This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. We're in Manchester. It's the night before kind of Ben's ring return against Chris Van Heerden, and I'm joined by trainer Tony Sims. Tony, firstly, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Andy. Good to see you, mate.
You too. Now, yourself and the team have kind of kept yourselves away from the rest of kind of the fight week involvements and what have you. Is this something which just kind of prefers, I take it?
Yeah, it's something that he chose to do, and we done it on the last fight as well. I think in Liverpool we did, yeah, and he just likes to be away from everything now.
Tony, what did you make of the pair of them on the scales earlier, but especially Chris Van Heerden, because him coming in considerably under that 147 limit was a surprise to most?
Yeah, like sometimes it happens though, do you know what I mean? You can't look too much into it, you know, he's obviously missed his weight a little bit, and but listen, it's only a couple of pounds, you know what I mean, and you can't look too much into that.
What challenges are you expecting him to offer to kind of tomorrow night to overcome? And I've asked this to everybody this week, so I'll get your thoughts as well. Because of how explosive and how good Connor's looked over the last couple of years, say if he blows Chris out of it early on, or if he doesn't, but he wins comfortably on points, there'll always be question marks as to why he couldn't have fought a more durable opponent, or why he wasn't able to work him out to stop him. Do you think it's kind of a lose-lose type fight for him going into tomorrow night?
It probably is if you're looking at the public perception of where Conor Benn is now, do you know what I mean? Like, if it was maybe a year ago, we'd have been saying, oh, this is a tough fight for Conor Benn, do you know what I mean? He's like former IBO champion, he's a southpaw, he's been in with everybody, he's only been stopped once by Errol Spence in 8 rounds. So, you know, to me, he's a tough customer, you know, and what makes him, you know, more tougher fight is he's a southpaw. So, you know, what Conor Benn hasn't faced before. So, you know, these little hurdles that he's got to overcome. As you say, people want to see him look impressive and explosive, which, you know, he obviously is that sort of fighter, and that's why people tune in to watch him. But, you know, there is hurdles for him to overcome tomorrow night, you know, and he's got to do that in style.
It's an interesting point you make about public perception of Conor, because again how good he's looked recently. How do you guys go about trying to manage that? Because when this fight was announced, for people wanting to see him in it with, say, a Kell Brook or somebody like that, wasn't to be. Is that the next fight? Is that the right move? Somebody like a Kell Brook, or, as Conor's mentioned to me, a Mikey or a Danny Garcia or an Adrian Broner, which has previously been touted, or will fans expect somebody similar to a Van Heerden who's competed at the top level previously, but will look at him and think maybe he's just past it?
Yeah, you know, Eddie's talking about a big name fight on the next fight, and it's like we said earlier, strange how quickly he's fast forwarded himself, really, you know, because up until, say, 3 fights ago, no one was even mentioning him in that sort of name. Now, every time I put a picture up of him fighting, you know, on Instagram, it's like, why ain't he fighting Bout? Why ain't he fighting Virgil Ortiz? You know, you're talking about the elite, you know, that they're asking him to fight. Now, we're still in the learning process at the moment. He's still learning his trade, in my eyes, you know. But obviously, we've got to sort of put him into a big fight next, because, like I said earlier, public perception of him now is he is the elite. You know, people are putting him in the top 3 or 4 fighters in his division. You know, so you know, we're going to step him up. I ain't worried about stepping him up, but I just wanted to see him against a southpaw, put him in against a southpaw, and test him against one, because, as we know, the 2 top elite world champions, Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, are both southpaws. So, you know, I said to Conor, you don't want to be fighting one of them, and you've never boxed a southpaw before. So, it's good that the public are looking at Conor Benn that way, you know, but in the same breath as well, to me, he's still on a learning curve. So, you know, that's where we're at the minute. As you say, if he does an impressive performance that we're all hoping for, then he's got to move up to the next level, because, you know, there's not much other out there for him to fight after this.
So, how are you expecting the fight to play out tomorrow night, Tony?
I'm expecting him to deal with a southpaw stance. You know, in sparring, the last few weeks in sparring, he's dealt with a southpaw stance, and you know, to be smart in there defensively, and also, you know, to be his explosive self as well. You know, obviously he's got the genes of Nigel Benn running through him, and he's got that sort of power in both hands that he can take you out of either hand. So, you know, that's what makes him exciting. But at the same breath, I don't want him to, you know, just get that mentality where he just walks forward and bombs away without being smart doing that, you know. And that's all part of his learning process, all part of the experience, what he's doing in his gym. And, you know, it's all, as I say, it's all a learning curve. And, you know, at 25 years of age, he's got loads of time on his side. If you look at, you know, a lot of the others in the division, they're near in their 30s, or the world champions are in their 30s, so he's still got plenty of time.
Mentioning those names we spoke about earlier, the Carl Brooks of the world and what have you, would you be happy for a Carl Brook next?
Of course, like we was in discussions halfway through this camp with Kel, you know, and you know, I was happy at the time to, you know, for Conor to fight him next rather than Van Heerden. But, you know, we didn't have enough time to do any discussions, and we already had this fight. We was already training for this fight, as I say. We was already sparring with southpaws. So, you know, it's best to get this fight done. And, you know, obviously we want to concentrate on Van Heerden as well, because you don't, as you say, you don't want to, you know, you don't want to look bad or make any slip-ups there. So, you know, get this fight out of the way, and then hopefully Eddie can sit down with Kell Brook. I'm happy for him to fight Kell Brook after this fight. You know, I'm happy for that fight.
Away from that, you've obviously got the Spencer Ugas fight during the night on Saturday. I'm sure you'll be kind of, if not watching immediately, you watch it the next day. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a good fight. Obviously, they're both world champions, unifying the title, and Ugas is a tough cookie. You know, he's a Olympic bronze medalist. You know, Cuban. You know, he's a good fighter, and we see that against Pacquiao. I mean, no one favoured him to beat Pacquiao, but he convincingly beat him. And with Spence, we've seen Spence over here against Brook, great fighter. Obviously, he's had injuries. He's had the eye injury. He's had the car crash. So we don't know how much that's affected him. But if you take that away, you know, I would fancy Spence to outbox Ugas. But you don't know. You know, you don't know what effect the eye injury or the car crash has had on him physically and mentally. So we don't know. It makes it more of an interesting fight.
It's only just one more fight I was trying to get your thoughts on is next weekend, Tyson Fury, Fury-Whyte. What is your take now? It's only a week away.
I think it's going to be a good fight. You know, it's great to see two Brits fighting for the heavyweight championship of the world. Obviously, you know, through form, you've got to think Tyson Fury is the favourite, but you know, you can't take Fury-Whyte out of this fight. You know, because the one thing you know for sure, Dillian's going to come to fight. He's going to be in there winging away with his left hook. You know, he gets himself in tremendous condition living in Portugal. You know, I think it's going to be a great fight. I really do. I think it's going to be a good fight. I think Dillian is probably going to press him hard. You know, but yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it. And as I say, it's an all-British affair. It's going to be great.
Can I push you for a prediction?
I'm probably going to predict that Tyson Fury will probably win on points, but my heart's going to go with Fury-Whyte because I'm friends with Dillian as well, so I want Dillian to bang him with that double left hook and hopefully get the win.
Tony, it's a pleasure to catch up with you as always. Good luck tomorrow night with Conor, and thanks for beating me in Boxing Social.
Nice one, cheers Andy.